Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, everyone. We're back with more Masks: A New Generation with our show here on CharismaToAC called Misfits. Misfits is the name of our superhero team, comprised of numerous, various aged teenagers living in the great and immense and fantastic Halcyon City, somewhere on the American West Coast.
Actually, I think we ended up saying it was most of the American West Coast.
Yeah, probably. I don't know that we benefit from deciding exactly where, so it's just somewhere on the West Coast. Well, it's fine.
Big enough to cover most of it anyway.
So, let's talk shop. So
we had an hilarious first edition.
Yes.
It was quite the circus.
Quite literally.
I see what you did there. Yeah, so for those of you, ladies and gentlemen, in the viewing audience, who don't know, I'm Daniel, and these lovely people with me here are respectively Joan,
Hey,
AJ, and Rasmus.
Croissant.
Now,
what?
We hope to be joined later on during this session, likely between breaks, by Comrade Brain, whom you know as the player of the character Recon. Thalmed, the player of Vanguard, cannot join us today because of, well, like, feeling shit. So...
Oh, does that mean we're brainless?
We're
right
brainless,
now,
at least for an hour.
Yeah,
And we're friendless until he gets better.
Okay.
For the first while here, we're gonna be brainless, which is all fine. It's fine. This is par for the course for this show. So let's get into the swing of things, and we'll do that by reintroducing our characters and just like giving each other and the viewing audience a brief taste of what we're doing, and give us the hot take on your characters, and then we'll talk about what happened last time, and then we'll get into it. So starting at the top, Moira Morgan, also known as Constrictor. Would you please tell us about your character?
This is so strange because we usually went after what plays in the playbook you had.
I believe before I also had it alphabetically sorted, but I don't remember.
Yeah. But we're misfits, so we go against the rules.
Yes.
Yosh, Moira is the transformed. Yay!
Woo.
Woohoo! What else are we supposed to say here?
I mean, if you think that's the extent of your character, something has gone horribly wrong.
It's the snake lady on the backsplash. And she starts up with 2 conditions. Because why not? I started out with a ton of conditions on Starlight as well. Why not continue? And her starting labels are Freak of 3, Danger of 2, Superior of -1, Mundane of -1, and a Savior of 0.
Alright. What superpowers do you possess?
She has Inhuman Strength, or I think it's called Inhuman Might. And she is a Technopath.
Very cool. Very cool. Alright. Entry. Why don't you give us a little taste of what you're about?
Yeah, Entry is also known as Pollux, which is, his given name. He is a delinquent of 16 years, and he has a very exciting stat score consisting of a Freak 0, Danger 0, Savior 0, Superior 3, and Mundane 0.
You're clipping a bit. Are you close to your microphone right now?
I am, but allow me to just readjust a few things.
No.
Is this better?
A bit, yep.
Why did you burp into the microphone?
I was ing.
Oh.
Let me know if it gets if it's still bad, and I'll try and fix a few things.
It's still bad, but I appreciate you trying.
I'll try to fix a few things once I'm done talking then.
Yep.
He has the powers of teleportation, and he is
and then you broke off completely.
Wonky. So we're looking at some audio trouble on Rasmus's
Yep.
end, it seems. Why don't we,
Yeah.
while we wait for that to get sorted out, talk about trespass then?
Sure. My sound is okay?
Yeah, totally.
All right, okay, just to make sure. Well, Trespass is the Redeemed playbook, as which is one of the expansion, I believe, playbooks.
Yeah, you're from the new playbooks from Halcyon Herald.
Exactly. Basically, a Redeemed means that she is a former villain who's, seen the error of her ways, and that she's coming. She's coming around. What? Somebody said something?
I think I heard Rasmus there for a second. Do continue.
Right, it looks like his computer is completely dead, so he will be returning later, but his for the moment his computer is just utterly dead. Sorry for me suddenly being a little bit. He's sitting 3 meters away from me, so when he's starting doing slashing motions across his throat, I tend to get interested in what it is the man is trying to communicate at me.
Of course.
Oh, I heard him laugh.
So anyway, she is, as I said, she's the Redeemed, and her labels are: she's got a freak of 1, a danger of 1, savior of nothing, a superior of nothing, and a mundane of 1. So she's actually quite leveled out, sort of, you might say.
Yeah, she's the most balanced of us.
Yeah, at the moment, I think she is. That might change 100,000 times, obviously.
Nah, we always stay the same.
You were highly practiced in acrobatics, so it's only natural that you would be the most
hardy fucking har.
Someone slap him.
You can't. I'm the GM.
That was awful. All right. So, what else did you need to know about her? She's got no conditions, obviously. Anything else?
What are you bringing in terms of your capacity for the superheroics again?
Well, if we're talking strictly superheroics, not much really, seeing as she is, in fact, not endowed with any supernatural abilities, quite apart from the fact that despite her eyes being ruined, she can still apparently see. Other than that, and it's not like she can see in X-ray vision or in total darkness or anything, she can just see, but she passes herself off as, blind, because hiding makes it easier to hide.
It's yet unknown why you can see, but
it is as yet unknown why she can see, but she can. The point being that other than that, she is an exceptionally highly trained martial artist, both with and without martial arts weaponry. She knows her way around a lot of different Asian combat styles, and that is really it, except, of course, for her. This is not a superpower, but it is definitely something that she brings to the table, namely that she's got several years of experience. But her experience, obviously, is that of a villain. She's been fighting for the wrong side for years.
Yes, of course. You also
Come
have
to
some.
the dark side.
You have
ninjas.
Some baggage from back then that manifests in certain forms.
Yes, that is true. She's got some contacts. Do you want me to list those?
Why not? Let's remind ourselves who your contacts are.
She's got 3 contacts. She has Mr. Kane. Mr. Kane is a crime boss, and she owes him 2 favors, because when she decided to go from the dark side to the light, so to say, she was helped immensely by him. He was basically the one who enabled her to set up a life for herself in any way, and so on and so forth. Other than that, she owes 1 favor to a man known as the Armorer. The Armorer is, well, as the name implies, he's the Underworld's weaponsmith, and he has made sure that she's been supplied with a full set of the weaponry that she requires to do, well, what she does. And last but not least, she knows a Dr. Cutler, who is the surgeon to the supervillains, but she doesn't actually owe him any favors. Things would probably have been different if he had managed to save her eyes, but he didn't. So, yeah.
Or did he?
Or did he? But she is...
So,
But she does, in fact, not owe him any favors. So, there you go.
goody. All right, cool.
I have returned. How is my sound?
Still clipping a bit.
Holy crap.
Basically, like I can hear what you're saying. You're perfectly legible. It's just a little bit grating because it has that bit of like a police radio vibe to it.
Yeah.
As if you're trying to eat your microphone at the same time.
He's really
Which I
not.
think you're not.
He's moved it. No, he's not. He's moved it away from his mouth quite a
I
bit.
have now moved it further away. Is that better?
It's better, but it's still
It's better.
clipping.
We'll figure it out.
I think I have an idea, but let me just check it out. And
That
I'll
is almost perfect. When
But I
you
didn't do anything!
maybe
And there we got Clippy again. So let's let
yeah,
Rasmus
we'll
fidget with
look
it.
at
And
tech
then,
issues in
Yes.
your background. Yeah, that's fine.
How is it now?
That is pretty good.
Might have been my levels, which were at 100 because they needed to be at some point.
yeah,
Okay.
that helped a lot actually.
Beautiful. Look at you.
There we go.
So audio
Amazing.
savvy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have of the viewing audience, we have a service announcement here. We are not terribly good with tech.
But it doesn't help that the settings that work one day doesn't work at the next.
Exactly.
On the
Anyways.
note of not being particularly good with tech, let us quickly flee into our escapist fantasy in which we have 2/3 of the group being very tech savvy. Let's talk about what happened last time. Will someone volunteer to talk about last time?
I can try to.
All right, what happened last time?
Well, last time we, I think, well, the main and major thing that happened last time, apart obviously from the reintroduction of 2 characters and the new introduction of 3 new ones, which did take a little while. We were on our way to school when, or something of the sort. I believe we were on our way to school, actually, when suddenly the First National Bank of Halcyon City was burgled for the 385th time this week. And this time, of course, it got a little bit ugly because whoever had broken in there wearing circus outfits were actually holding hostages. Which is obviously never a good idea, because when you hold hostages and there's somebody going, "Save me!" in a superhero setting, superheroes are bound to arrive.
Yeah,
I mean, the best move a supervillain could ever do, let's face it, is to release the hostages right off bat, because that would take a lot of impetus away from superheroes to ever get involved.
yeah, just like the bank's money are insured, it's fine.
Exactly. But
Except if you want attention.
of course. But in any case, we got there only to promptly be, well, we were told off more or less by the local cops, who basically told us, no, we have this. And then immediately after that, they start, "Oh my God, sir, they have hostages," or something. And
That is a way of remembering it, yes.
that's how I looked at it anyway when it happened. And what's it called? We then... we decided to get ourselves involved, because obviously we can't just leave these good people to be, harmed by this horrible group of ne'er-do-wells. And of course, one of the ne'er-do-wells, as it turns out, released an elephant on us, because of course the whole thing was circus themed. So suddenly we are charged by an angry elephant. That kind of got us involved, so some of us tried to get the elephant out of the way, while others tried to get into the actual building to rescue the hostages. And fun and hilarity ensued, and we were eventually able to get rid of the mooks that were holding these hostages, but that wasn't enough, because of course the boss Uber Mook, arrived in the shape of, I believe his name was the Ringmaster. Stone Cold Steve Austin must be, weeping somewhere in Austin, Texas. But he introduced himself as the Ringmaster, and basically he wore like a Sprechstahlmeister outfit and had a long whip and so on. And he cracked the whip when he addressed us and told us to, go away or something of the sort. And as he cracked the whip, and a kangaroo with boxing gloves and then a bear on a unicycle wearing a tutu and playing a harmonica in front of itself was or an accordion, I think it would be in American English. But yes, they were anyway. They came out from behind him and attacked us, and more hilarity and fighting ensued. After which we managed to get rid of the two animals in a non-lethal sort of way, obviously. And one of us got knocked down, no names mentioned, by the kangaroo with the boxing gloves. And we finally managed to get rid of the animals and then disarm the villain. And as he was taken into custody and the hostages were saved and so on and so forth, we made good our escape and made our way back towards school, yada, 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 yada. And the last thing I believe we saw was how this cretin of a Spikestylemeister wannabe basically got sprung from the prison transport that he was on. Am I completely horribly off in all of that?
I don't believe you are, no.
Well, I offered to go to McRonald's, but then suddenly, I found Daddy Tech and went home because that hit a nerve.
Yep. That's true.
I like you call it Daddy Tech.
Yes.
That's what it is.
So why don't we talk a little bit about what that means to you? What does it mean that you found Dad Tech?
Well, it's not so much that I found Dad Tech, I suppose, because, he was one of the premier inventors of stuff, TM. So it's all over everywhere. The big deal is that this was misused, and it was altered so that it could be misused.
Indeed.
It was changed.
It was.
Dun dun dun.
The vile, villainous knaves of the greater Halcyon City, abusing clever people's philanthropic tech to their own ends. How dare they?
Yes, so I believe I went home to figure out what the fuck they had done to it.
You did. You also tried to stay incognito because your grandma was supposed to know this was a school day. So
that at least I have experience in.
Yes. After all, you're a colossal disappointment. Your responsibility shirking ways.
Yes.
So let's talk shop. Let's talk about what happened. So when we open our next issue, we take out our next issue of Masks. We flip open on the first page, and I think the first thing I want to see here is I kind of want a set of introductory panels to just show off the city, a nicer part of the city, where we're moving in, getting closer and closer to your private school entry.
Yes. Question.
Yeah.
For sake of convenience, have I possibly changed school recently to the school everyone else is in? Question.
Because he's such a delinquent, he doesn't really fit in anymore. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Sure.
Or
if you want to, then absolutely. That could be just another thing that your grand is on your back for.
Or I could have done it deliberately once we formed the team, but of course that was not really what really happened. Really, it was my gran who is disappointed, and now I've been kicked out.
I mean, yeah. So the long and short of it is that you probably you can decide why you are no longer in your highfalutin, super overprivileged rich kid private school. The long and short of it and how it impacts your life is that you're now instead in in a public high school.
Halcyon High.
I think we established that we were gonna steal the name Blackwell.
Oh right.
So it's,
Totally.
Yeah.
And they totally have a party planning group called the Vortex.
Let's not go too far. But yeah, sure. Let's go with that. But yeah, so Blackwell Public High School. So that why that matters to you is, one, you're like you're a rich like kid from a fancy high school who came to a public high school, and oh, did they do things differently where you're from, rich kid? Like that's a thing that's a part of your reality now. And as is your grand's like undying disappointment that you got yourself thrown out of Blackwell, and she's probably like trying to pull strings to get you back in. Sorry, not in Blackwell, in whatever high school you used to attend. She's probably pulling strings to try and get you back in because she is your legal guardian in your parents' absence.
Yes.
So
yes, she is.
Yeah, sure. So let's like we have a series of shots like bringing us to that school. And the entry, I want them to be captioned, with like a soliloquy from your character. I want to hear your thoughts in like a day or two have passed, like, and some small measure of time has passed, and I want to hear your thoughts on like the events that have transpired. What you finding. This reformed tech that your dad created means to you, and just like have an introductory like flash of what's inside your head.
Okay, so in regards to the dad tech, not in regards to the school.
In regards to like whatever happens in your life, right? Like the school is a thing that's happening. Your hero life is a thing that's happening. Being a teenager is a thing that's happening, and this technology that you found are a thing that's happening. And this is kind of like the captions that show us the internalized view of like just what you're thinking of, right? This is a kind of presentation caption.
Okay. I think it goes something like, people always think that schools are different, but really they're not. Eventually, once you've shown them that you're much smarter than them and you know you're not going to do the work, the teachers give up. Even the good-hearted, oh, I can save you teachers. Really, I'm wasting my time here. If it wasn't because I'm underage, I could already have made millions, if not billions. And I have much more important stuff to research back home. I still have to figure out what was done to Dad's tech. Something like that.
Cool.
So righteous little ass.
I love it.
Of course.
So yeah, like that's like caption in panels, and the last like comment of yours, the last box of your soliloquy is captioned in a panel of you sitting in like a biology class.
Perfect.
Oh no! So actually, what age are you again?
The right age.
With that, Rasmus.
16.
Sure, biology sounds fine. You're like either a sophomore or a
16 would usually be a sophomore, yes.
yeah. So
If I'm not mistaken, we're all sophomores.
the Vanguard and Recon are seniors.
All right, they're a year
they're-
older.
That would, if they're seniors, then they're 2 years older.
Yeah.
Boo. Old men.
Yeah, it's their final year before they graduate.
No, the reason I said it's perfect is because Pollux hates biology.
Yes.
Not that he can't figure it out, because, you know, he can figure anything out, but it's stupid and annoying to have to deal with living things and their weird, random reactions instead of, you know, some much harder science. I know biology is a hard science, it's not that, but...
So when you clearly have that like reaction to this, that's great. How do we see that like drawn in the panel? Are you like literally like squashing your face in your hand, just like half falling asleep? Are you poring over something that's not what you're supposed to be looking at?
I know. I think we see Pollux trying to balance a pencil on his upper lip.
Perfect. So across from you, like seated in the same classroom, in a very different setup, is a Constrictor. Constrictor, what does your corner of the classroom look like? Because it's not equipped to handle you. So what is the way we see that one, that they've made like room for you to be there, and also that it's not at all like appropriate or like what's necessary.
I imagine that it's actually 1/4 of the entire room, and still people trip over her tail when they walk from the seats and up to the teacher or to the chalkboard. So she has a table, but they couldn't find a chair that would fit in any way. So they gave up on a chair, and they gave her a dog bed, one of those without the edges on it, so she had something soft under her. Of course, they couldn't get one big enough, so it's just, to have immediately under most of her weight.
Mm.
The rest of the tail is more or less, packed away in the corner.
Yeah.
But still, people have a tendency to trip over the tip of it.
All right.
It looks rather uncomfortable because some of her tail is probably on some of the corner desk or something that's not used.
Of course. And what do you look like in biology? Because you have a different relationship with the idea of the body's makeup than other people do.
Yeah.
That depends on what we're talking about.
Like, do you, in your mind, like, is Moira like all about biology? Like, was her reaction to becoming a snake monster, was that like, oh, I'm gonna like really pay attention when they talk about like biology and how like genes and like things that comprise the body works? Or are you more like none of this applies to me, I don't like this is boring, this is nonsense, this reminds me of something I don't like?
Well, she's interested in one part of biology, and this is not it.
Okay, so this is like, they're talking about food groups or something instead of
something like that, how you digest stuff. And because she has to eat almost all the time, she's probably numbing on something while just laying across the table staring at the teacher and the front of the class.
Interesting.
With a very bored look on her face.
Yeah. All right. And further in this class, do we have trespass? Are you attending this class?
Yes, I certainly am.
All right. So what do you look like in your civvies? You're the character I have the hardest time imagining, like just wearing normal clothes.
No, she's sitting in the to one side of the classroom. Obviously, she can't, quote unquote, can't see what's on the blackboard anyway. She's got her book with braille writing in front of her, which she's using her fingers to read through. She does actually. Point is, she does read braille, but it's all a matter of keeping an identity and a false identity basically going. So she's sitting there with that. I think clothing wise, I think she's wearing a red top of some kind, silk top of some kind, and probably pretty classy, really, and a black skirt, some sort, nothing, nothing too short or anything. Just dresses kind of stylishly, really.
Right. You also not dressing like a hoodlum, opposed to the
no,
other
it's
focused on.
Especially no. She comes from a culture in which when you go to school, you wear a uniform. All right, here you don't wear a uniform, but you would certainly still dress nicely for school. So it's and she's probably, I would imagine that quite a few of her classmates find her a little annoying or a little amusing because she's extremely respectful towards her teachers.
Yeah, that probably gets you a certain bit of not particularly polite mockery, but never to your face because
Yeah.
Because that's a big ass snake who looks like they want to kill them whenever they do.
I mean,
also, you don't mock the blind girl. That's socially unacceptable.
Exactly, right. That's more it, right? Like Moira has an effect on it, but that's more of being like a magnet for derision than being a deterrent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is your like I mean, so there's a bit, right? You're probably wearing sunglasses or something.
Yeah, she does. She's wearing yeah, she's wearing sunglasses.
All right, but you seem to be like relatively invested in the class.
Oh yes, sir. She is. I mean, she's not genius level bright, but she certainly gets good grades. I mean, she does her homework, studies, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And if we're talking food groups, as you said, then at least she knows a thing or two about eating healthy.
All right, cool. So we know what you two look like. If we had just like a one box soliloquy similar to what we had for entry for you trespass and then also for constrictor, what would that read? Like what would be our like brief one sentence look into your mind in this situation?
I think in trespass case, did you say, or
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think in her case, it's going to be her running her fingers over a couple of lines of text, and the train of thought would be, what Americans think of as healthy food would get you hospitalized back home.
Good point.
Awesome. And Moira?
Healthy, not healthy. I have to eat so much, it doesn't matter anyway.
All right. So what kind of like what are ways that you typically get mocked in class, Moira? Like note passing? Do people write on your tail with markers?
No, they wouldn't dare. They've learned pretty quickly that if they do, they will get beaten up by her. So they have a tendency to tease her in a way that excludes her completely.
That's interesting. So
Also, socially isolation, social isolation.
It's most likely that they realize that trying to corner her and being evil to her in that regard, she would find out because she can smell pretty well. She's a fucking snake. And she will beat you up for it.
Interesting. So this has happened before. So
several times. Publicly.
So my typical comment here would be, so the school definitely are not cool with that in any respect, right? Like you start like beating someone up on like school grounds, or like they hear about violent behavior, they're gonna like come down on you for it. So
of course,
in
she's
what
been
ways,
what's it called? It's it's not expelled, suspended several times for it. And that's when they stopped and started excluding her instead.
Okay. So basically, okay, I see you. So are there like, so if people like freeze you out, I think then it looks like whispered remarks, unspoken judgments, cold looks, sneering like grimaces. I like because. Teens are not typically like emotionally mature enough to engage in the like psychological workplace harassment and bullying that adults do. It's more like typically a bit more overt. What they
it's
do.
Probably comments said in the presence of someone who is not supposed to be there when she beats someone up.
Okay. So
or something that is harsh or whispered or something else, so she can't exactly hear what is said.
Right. So in what way during this class in particular, right here, right now, does Evan, a guy you do not approve of at all, attempt to get under your skin?
Making slithering noises.
All right.
For example.
Cool. So if he has to be heard doing that, he's probably seated like close to you. So I think that's what he does. I think like we have a panel scene from relatively from your perspective, right? Like it's painted from your point of view, and we see this kid. He's white, but he's like kind of tan. He's wearing like a shirt that's not buttoned up all the way. He's like wearing he's wearing a silver chain, and he's like got like frosted tips in his hair. he's like decently like attractive. He like turns around in his seat and looks at you, and just like clearly openly mocking you, like slithers at you.
She looks sideways, committing this memory to the databank, and her tail makes a dangerous little whip. As in, yeah, you're next.
I think, can I hear that he's doing that?
Are you
Where I'm
seated,
sitting?
like, do you sit next to Evan?
I think I might actually be, yes.
Sure, yeah, you absolutely can.
In front of a constrictor.
Yeah, exactly. I think, if for no other reason, then she would have tried to get herself placed there because she specifically does like Moira and doesn't want her to be surrounded on all sides by people who treat her badly. But I think she's going to not look up from her book and just very innocently, she's going to look confused, furrow her brow, and then finally she looks up and looks around and says, I'm sorry. I thought I heard someone drooling.
Cool. You wanna? I get you're trying for something here. What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to provoke the asshole.
Yeah. What are you trying to provoke him to do?
I'm trying to provoke him into, speaking up and revealing that what he just did, because it's one thing for him to taunt Moira in a sort of hidden way, right? But if he does so where the teacher can hear what is happening or see what's happening, then he's going to be in trouble. So she wants him to out himself.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So you can totally try and do that. He's your peer. He cares.
Yeah.
So give us a roll to provoke.
Right.
I guess I could see that. Yeah, sure. Let's do it that way. I was gonna say this could also be saving, like defending.
So a
someone,
9.
but I'm into provoking. All right. A roll of
It's a 9.
It's a 9. Why is it a 9?
Because you have
Because
influence.
it's +1.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry.
So
Why are you sorry? He's the one who
Hey,
should
can
be
I
sorry.
assist?
yeah, you can.
I want to snigger loudly when I hear her say that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think Moira will come. Nah, he's just drooling over you, Yun.
I'm deducting your team point for that.
Yeah, of course.
Then we kick it up. So yeah, you totally like chime in and
Get
like,
him all sputtering
contribute.
and that's the idea anyway.
So he's making an ass of himself, and you throw a provocation his way, intending to rouse him, and he like turns to look at you to like confirm, wait, are you talking to him? And then like pieces it together based on like entry, like snickering and like sending him sidelong glances, like "Ta, you're an idiot." And he reacts right in a way he didn't mean to. So he speaks up a bit too loudly when he says, "Hey, fuck you," and just like immediately from the other side of the class was like, "Excuse me, Mr. Richardson." He's like flustered. He gets called out. Everyone like looks, exchanges whispers. So maybe Mr. Richardson, your teacher, continues. Your teacher being what is your teacher like here? I like my mind went to like
Miranda Rhodes.
All right, let's give a note here. So Miranda teaches biology. Okay.
I think it's a good thing she's not like my biology teacher.
I think she is a rotund 47, 48-year-old African-American woman who comes at you like a battleship under full sails.
And on her way into menopause, so she extra grumpy.
Dig it. So, Miranda Rhodes. So Miss Rhodes like turns over like says,
"Oh no, it would be Mrs. Rhodes." Sorry.
Okay.
I think she would be married and have kids.
Okay.
Just saying.
Mrs. Rhodes turns and like says, So, Mr. Richardson, if you don't mind, since you seem to have energy to spare, and since you seem to be so well read up on this that you can help out your classmates like that, maybe you'll tell us what happens if the body ingests an inordinate amount of, and she because she's talking about the food groups, right? So she starts trailing off into you tell us what happens when you eat too much protein, what happens when you eat too much when you eat too much gluten, and so on and so forth. And he, of course, he can't. He does a decent attempt at it. He gets a couple of answers right, but also shortly thereafter,
if nothing else, he's flustered by having been called out, I guess.
Exactly. And eventually, he just sits down with red cheeks and a reprimand.
No.
I don't feel sad for him.
He looks over to you, Yoon, as you.
Of course, she doesn't see him.
No.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
He looks over to you and whispers low enough to not to not get caught out. He's like, "Go fuck yourself, Yoon. Shame you can't see how dumb you look from here."
I think does she hear it?
Yeah, totally.
She smiles.
He's exerting influence on you.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
he's
I'm not
taking
going to
revenge for your stepping in.
Right.
And I think he's calling you a freak.
Yeah. I would have an answer for that, you see, but yeah.
Yeah. Let's find out.
But, yep.
What would you?
Why?
Would you?
Sorry.
Do you accept his? Do you accept his poisonous words?
No, under no circumstances.
Wonderful. All right. Well, why don't you roll to reject?
Okay, and remind me how I do.
A roll to reject is rolling 2 dice, and
adding
2d6.
adding my conditions, correct?
yes.
Okay.
Wait, what?
No, wait, no, I'm wrong about that. It's not how that works.
Rejecting someone's influence is
Yeah.
something
It's just-
completely different.
Yeah, that's right. So
Flat 2d6.
Yeah, flat 2d6.
Okay, sure. No modifiers of any kind, so there we go. Wow.
There you go. No problem. So
I think that she will listen to it and then quirk the tiniest of smiles on the side of her face that is facing him. It'll be very, very slight, and she will whisper under her breath, she will say, "Oh, I have to fuck myself, because there's no way I'm ever going to let you do it."
solid. So you get 2 choices. You can clear a condition or mark potential by immediately acting to prove him wrong. You can shift 1 label up and 1 label down, your choice, or you can cancel his influence and take +1 forward against him.
No, I think I'm
You
going
can
to mark
pick 2
potential.
ways, so.
I'm going to mark potential, and I'm going to that. It's not enough to speak up, obviously.
Nope.
Correct.
Yeah,
So what she will do in that situation is she will turn her head after she's done that, which obviously doesn't take all that long. She's going to go, oh, excuse me. I'm not sure I heard you correctly, Mr. Richardson. Miss or Mrs. Mrs. Rhodes. So basically, she's going to get the teacher involved in this.
Of course. So yeah, she's like, yes. What is it? Or what is it?
Yes,
Yun?
I think actually it's Miss Anne. Miss Anne,
Yeah.
yes. And she said, "No, I'm sorry, but I was busy trying to obviously to follow the lesson. But I think that Mr. Richardson has more to say. Sounded like it."
All right.
So she's calling him out in front of the whole class, basically.
Yeah, I
One
see.
more time.
One more time.
Solid. Yeah, I think you firmly like put him down on this one. What's your second choice?
So that was taking potential, and what was the other? Yeah.
You can read your options here.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry, I had 2 because I got a full hit.
That's
Oh, Oh
You can-
dear.
you can,
Oh
shift a
dear.
label of your choice, and you
Clear
can cancel his
condition.
influence and take
Oh,
+1 forward.
You know what? I think I'm going to shift my labels. It would be tempting to take influence over him, but I think I'm actually going to shift my labels.
Right?
And
how do you come out of it?
I'm going to lower my savior in this situation, and I'm going to up my mundane. Oh, I was just the very, very good student, perfectly normal.
Right, of course.
So I'm going to up my mundane.
Okay, cool. So, after the lesson passes relatively uneventfully after this event, we find you like outside post school day. What are you doing? What's your plan like as you leave school grounds? Do you hang out in school or do you avoid each other? Do you know each other's secret identities? I mean, everyone knows Moira's.
Obviously, that's difficult to... I mean, we've already fought together, so I think it makes sense that we all know about each other's super secrets. We know each other's super identities, obviously. And consequently, when we are in school and we are in fact not our super identities, we would also kind of know each other's non-super identities. Or am I completely off the mark here?
That's a choice you get to make between each other.
Entry doesn't hide his secret identity, so...
Well, Yoon does, but not to you guys.
I think Moira really dislikes being at school for some reason.
I mean, I can't imagine why.
So she will not be hanging out at school.
No, I think if she's was this after school, you said?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
do you
In
hang out
that
after
case-
school?
In that case, I think as the the day is out, I think Yoon is going to try to catch up with Moira as she's leaving.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. I hope it is that I did not overstep by speaking out in Mrs. Rhodes' class as I did. Please forgive me if I went too far.
No, you didn't. It was a nice burn.
Thank you. I just do not understand why they treat you badly.
Because I'm different.
Well, so am I.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you don't look that different.
May I butt in?
Please?
Oh, that was out of character.
Oh, sure.
For entry's sake, he'll butt in if he wants to, and he wants to. And but it's socially unacceptable to bully the blind girl.
Oh, so they're nice to me
No.
when I'm there, because if they weren't, then they would come across as bullies.
Exactly.
Whereas when they bully you right to your face, they are not bullies.
Nope.
Well,
That's
they're a
because-
socially acceptable kind of bully.
There are
There's a
times
difference in seeming completely unable to defend yourself and not seeming that way.
there are times when I don't understand Americans.
There are times I don't understand Americans.
But you are nice, Moira. I don't understand why they would treat you badly.
Nice.
Yes, you are. You're fun.
Tell that to the last kid I beat up.
That last kid was bullying you. While I may not necessarily think that beating him up was the first choice I would have made, I cannot blame you for defending yourself.
Well, pulling him into the flagpole was nice.
Yes, it was. He had to go home with dirty and wet trousers. That's perfectly... I could not see any problem with that.
And it took them almost an hour to get him down.
Yes.
Could have just cut the flagpole down. That would have been fun.
And that would have worked if I hadn't attached him to the top of it with gaffer tape.
I also think that if they had cut down the flagpole, they would have had to first lower the Star Spangled Banner, because I don't think most Americans would have very much liked for him to be cut down with the flag then falling to the ground. I think that would be unpatriotic.
Yeah.
All
For some
right.
reason, flags are not supposed to touch the ground.
Right. I see.
So, what are you up to, Yun?
Although I should probably say that pissing on the flag is probably unpatriotic as well.
I
What?
think pissing on most things.
Well,
would
that
be
was what he did when he was hanging from the top of the flagpole.
I think it's because I made a diaper out of it for him.
Yes, probably. So anyway, you asked.
Yes. What are your plans? What are you doing? Want to hang out?
I was going to go home and do my homework.
Entry looks at her for a moment, like the concept of doing that is completely baffling to him.
The only comment Moira comes with is, "Oh, she's so cute."
Well, is that wrong?
Of course
Are you
not.
not supposed to do our homework?
Well, we're supposed to do it. That's why we don't do it.
I don't understand.
No, but it's part of American culture. Don't worry, you'll get
Oh,
it.
so
eventually.
if you are told to do something in America, you then don't do it. Is that correct?
Yes.
If you're Ross, at least. If you want to be something when you grow up, you do it.
Sorry,
How do your laws work, or don't they? I'm confused.
you're taking the piss now, right? Like, I assume.
I mean, not with the homework thing.
No, I mean trespass. Like when you say.
Yes, obviously, yes.
Okay.
No. She's definitely taking the piss, but she does enjoy playing the confused little foreign girl quite a bit.
So, I am imagining this is a walk and talk kind of conversation.
I think so.
Maybe.
Slither and talk.
Slither and talk in Moira's case.
Yeah. Where are you going?
Moira is headed toward that huge ass deserted mall that the boys showed them at some point.
Oh yeah, that place.
Oh, the Richard M. Nixon Mall of Halcyon City. Is that the one?
The big deserted one, yes.
Yeah. Oh, right. Out of character. I guess we can go to the arcade. Yes. I think it should be said out of character, Daniel. I do think that when they took off, I mean, Diamond would have made it pretty clear that if the boys wanted to keep that as a sort of base, then that would make all kinds of sense. And, please go on, do so. So,
Also, she didn't actually own it in the first place.
no, but it's still, sort of would make sense.
Indeed. However, I think I want to challenge your presumption of that place being available to you. I want to make you. Want to make your superhero selves proverbially homeless. So when you arrive at that mall, there's a bunch of construction workers orange taping the place.
Oh.
Crap.
Oh, well, we can go to my place. Not big, but it's big enough.
Last
I
time
vote
I
in
tried
place.
to squeeze in there, I knocked over everything.
Yeah, I moved things since then.
I forgot. Where do you live actually? Have we talked about
She's
that?
she's got a small student home.
Right.
It's on her bio if you want to have a look.
Cool.
I moved things so that it'll be easier for you to get in without knocking things over. I figured you might come back to, visit.
So let's
I
do
don't know why, but for some reason, something poked me when I tried, laying on your couch. Do you have weapons everywhere?
Yes. Now that you
Of course she
Alright.
does.
So wait, let's do that. Let's like change panels and be at your place. Let's see your place. So why don't you like take charge of a couple of panels here and tell us, like, give us an establishing shot and then like show us around the place as you're having a conversation.
Yes. Well, it is small. So basically, what it is it opens up through. She's got her own entrance into these flats. It's basically, it's almost like it was built in. It's built in an old motel, which has then been, refurbished and fixed up, and it's not sleazy and stuff. But of course, that does mean that it's kind of small. There's or each room is small. There's one main room that basically makes up the kitchen slash sleeping area slash living area. Basically divided as you would by bookcases or whatnot. But there's one common area in flat, and then there's a small there's a toilet and a bathroom. Obviously, I mean that's what there is really. But it's comfy. She's managed to turn it really kind of, comfy and welcoming with very little furniture because she doesn't own much, but there you go.
Awesome.
What?
I think Moira has probably tried to make it to her bed because that's the biggest, area that's a plane or something like that without most obstructions, and try to fit into that so she doesn't knock over everything. Though her tail quite probably fills out most of the room anyway.
Probably.
I think Entry will be standing against a wall, throwing a ball up and, just in his hand.
Yep.
What is that an expression of? Are you bored, or are you having a good time doing it?
I think it's okay, we're here now. Let's have something happen because I'm about to be bored.
Should I get something to drink? I have
alcohol.
Let's
make it a party.
Moira rolls her eyes.
She looks in her fridge and shrugs sadly and says, "I don't have any. Coke? I have that."
Yeah, of course. Anything.
She takes out a can of Coke and looks at him and says, "Here," and then she tosses it pitch perfect at him. So it's an underhand throw, so it's not like it's not coming at him hard or anything. But this is just one of those situations that shows that she can see perfectly well.
It could have been funny though. She made it an overhand throw, thinking he had good enough reflexes. He didn't, and gets it in the face.
I think what he does actually is, he's had the ball thrown up, catches it, and as the Coke bottle comes towards him, he taps it with the ball.
Yeah.
The ball glows, and the Coke bottle stops midair, and then he just takes the Coke bottle out of the air. Because
nice.
it's
it would be a can. It would be a can, but yeah.
The can then.
Yeah.
There we go.
Very nice.
Now I just have to figure out what to do with... Do you have a window?
Yes, she would have.
In that case, he tosses the ball out the window and it goes pop outside.
She takes off her sunglasses now that she's at home. There's no need for them anymore. Puts them aside. So, since we are in fact not doing homework, as I understand it, what are we doing?
Well, Pollux, didn't you get one of the necklaces from one of the thingies? The police guy wanted you to, hand them over, but you popped with them?
Oh.
With one of them?
Yeah, I don't think you guys can help me with that.
I just wanted to know what you found out.
That sounds demeaning. How do you guys take that?
He gets a slap with the tail. Not harshly.
Just like a mock smurfspark,
with the tip of the tail.
Yeah.
Also, I can make
Light
you
whack.
fuck up again if you don't behave.
Hey, if you think your biology knowledge of the food groups is going to help you here, I'm afraid you're not. I'm sorry.
She lifts a brow.
I mean, it's not to be rude or anything, but this is way out of your league.
Rude. He gets another one.
All right. Give me your credentials for molecular biology, and I'll see if I find them enough.
So you're not gonna tell us what you found out about it?
It's a thing. It makes them stronger. I actually don't remember what it did.
It turned them into animals.
Oh, right. It makes them animals.
How
people.
is there a second before you say that where you become conscientious of what you're saying?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
So it
Moira
makes
lifts
them-
both brows at him.
So basically, the necklaces make them kitsune?
I suppose that's a good analogy. Yeah, it doesn't last forever. It's kind of temporary, and it's the kangaroo we thought would be a person.
So you're trying
Oh.
to save
So-
face with being knocked out with a kangaroo's bat or boxing glove that you pretend they were once people?
They were, and they will return to being people once the effect wears off.
I guess they have one advantage over me then.
Oh, that's a good idea. I could see if I could figure something out.
You're not doing experiments on me.
Not yet. I have to come up with a theory first and test something.
Not ever! Where is your fucking credentials? You don't have any.
Not officially. Why do you think I go to school?
So you can look bored and arrogant at the same time?
No, because the world won't acknowledge my brilliance unless I have a paper telling them that I'm brilliant. Or money, but I'm not old enough to be in charge of my own money, so.
I see.
Uh-huh.
I'm probably going to say something which is wrong now.
Don't worry, I'll forgive you.
Well, it's not so much you as Moira. I just wondered why you feel so wrong that something has to be fixed. You
That's a
don't
good
seem wrong to me.
No, but you're blind.
No, I'm not.
Rude.
No, I'm not.
Sure, I'm not wrong at all. I were born with a fucking tail.
What difference does it make whether you have a tail or whether I'm blind?
I want my legs back.
Now, that is a different situation. That means that there's something you want, but it does not make you wrong.
It's wrong from what I was born as.
Different from what you were born as. And you might not prefer it this way. I cannot say whether I would or not. I am not in a situation, but it's like, it doesn't seem wrong. Because
The only
if it
upside
is,
to this tail is that I can throw anything I want at any speed I want. And that's the only thing.
If it hadn't been for your tail, a lot of people would have been hurt this morning by the bank.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have cared, because I would never have had the tail. So I'd only have seen to the tip of my nose and not longer.
But in that case, is the tail not blessing in disguise?
Nope.
I mean, I think it's cool.
But would it be better
Sure.
to be like Evan and arrogant, cruel, or somebody who can do good things for others?
You be forced into this and see how you feel.
I'm not saying I wouldn't be upset. I wasn't particularly happy when this happened to my eyes, but I mean, I'm lucky I can still see.
What did happen to your eyes?
I'm not even sure.
Well,
Well, then where to?
guess you didn't see it coming.
Most amusing, but yes, that is exactly it. But no, I just think that you are incredibly cool, Moira, and
Did I joke
I-
because it's a cold-blooded animal?
I also think that the both halves of you are quite beautiful. You look like a naga, which is a fantastic thing to look like where I'm from.
A what?
Naga is a creature from Indian myth and legend, half person, half snake. They are very wise and very honored and very strong.
Well, 1 out of 3 ain't bad, I guess.
I forget how cultured you are, Yun.
And don't think I didn't hear you.
I was taught pretty well before I came here. She says it suddenly looks very sad.
Oh. Yeah, did something happen?
Yes, but I'm not sure how to explain it. Not yet.
Well, I guess that's fair. Anyway, as I see it, Mara, you becoming cool like this really did you a favor in terms of personality.
Oh, you knew each other before?
I guess you could say that.
Oh, that. I'm sorry. I asked a silly question. Did I not?
Yeah, it's all right. Basically, Moira now has a snake tail, but before she was a snake in the metaphorical sense of a person nobody likes.
Right.
How do you feel about
somebody?
this? Moira.
Okay.
What?
I don't want to by all means go on, Joan. I want to give windows.
She was just about to say, but I didn't know her then, of course, but I like her now.
So, Moira, how do you feel about this? Like, is this sounds like hurtful words?
Well, she totally doesn't care. She does. So she just crosses her arms and goes, well, at least back then I had a future as something but a freak show.
You only have a future in a freak show now? That sounds... Is that how it is done in America?
Well, I'm probably never going to be employed as something normal.
Why not? Your brain is still the same, is it not?
I don't even know what they did to me, so I can't tell.
I suppose that's fair, if your entire biological chemistry has been changed. Well, you can always be a hero, right?
Certainly.
Right, a hero.
I suppose
you were this morning.
This is like a day or two later.
Okay, well, okay, then you were at the bank?
We're also covertly asked to join his freak show of a circus because we could be good there.
Yes,
he's a jerk.
Exactly. And he was the villain and we beat him. We won. That is important. It is important to beat the villain.
Yeah, absolutely. Eunice, definitely right.
Are you being like I'm reading so much into everything your character is saying, Rasmus. I want to be sure that I'm being fair to you. Are you being a shithead on purpose, or am I just hearing it?
That one was meant to be like, oh, he wanted to say something else, but it's Yun, so he wants to impress her. So of course she's absolutely right.
Ah, okay, of course. It's thank you. I appreciate you contextualizing what you're saying.
No prop, Bob.
So I heard a lot of exchanges here.
Yeah. And at this point, Moira gets tired of it and gets out of the bed. You know what? I have to go. Stay around. And leaves out the window because that's easier than getting to the door.
Oh, see ya.
Are you like getting out of here because you feel like do you feel hurt by the conversation? Like were they being inconsiderate, do you feel?
She was hurt by the conversation that she should just accept this shit. But she can't just accept this shit. She wants to be a normal person again.
Alright, good stuff. So you take off. The two of you remaining, you get to decide if you pick up on that, if you understand why she's leaving.
I think Yoon definitely gets the general idea, maybe not the exact details, but she does get the idea that she's sad. And she does probably have a pretty good idea that something she said added to that, and that's the very reason why she doesn't go after her. Because quite frankly, she's only going to make things worse if she does. So when she leaves, I think the only thing she's going to do is say, I'm sorry. And then she's not going to follow, because, again, that'll just make things even more problematic.
The Entry has his attention elsewhere.
All right, where do you have your attention?
On the other female in the room. Or, well, I guess the remaining female in the room.
Do you have to remind yourself that she can see you when you're checking her out?
Lol.
Probably.
All right, just
Otherwise, I'm sure she'll remind him eventually. But yeah, also he has, as Yun realized, a bit of a past with Moira. So while they're definitely on better terms, I don't think they're always peachy. At least not from his side.
No, there's too much. Too much baggage.
All right. So,
Yes.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, we'll take our first break here, and when we come back, I want to see what happens in Yun's apartment. I want to see what the two of you do in private conversation, and I want to see where Moira goes. So we'll be right back after a short break, and we'll see what's up. But don't go anywhere.